You you are listening to The Great Transition, 2 p.m. Thursdays. Thank you for joining us. We have with us Asaf and Seth. If this is your
Hello.
first time, this is Asaf and Seth. I am Chris. Yes, hi. We are we started this podcast. You guys started this podcast. Remember the quarantine? The quarantine. It was like everyone
Yes.
was in quarantine, and that was good. That was a good. I hate this chair right now. That was a good. It was a good start. But COVID's been doing that right for a couple of years, and during that time,
By the way, it was
yes,
also you could also read it as the Quran team.
right. I'm sure you got a couple of comments like that.
We did.
Okay, so during that time, there was a lot of Zooming, Microsoft Teamings, a lot of interaction that would have taken place in real time, a physical person, that ended up being online. So there was this trend for that. Let's jump to today, and we're going to. I just want to show you guys what happened here. The world's first ever international holographic teleportation. So they had a successful test. So you're thinking hologram, teleportation, Star Trek, sounds awesome. Certainly we can't beat actually like taking all of my cells, breaking them apart and putting them back together in a different location, but we can still get excited about the first step, which is just successful. So just take a look at this. Basically, how you can see here in this guy, he's wearing like some goggles. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And across the country, there's another team that also has goggles. And right now he's interacting and she's interacting now with other people sitting around the table in another state. Actually, it's Canada and the United States. And so you can kind of see with these pictures, you can see how they're interacting. So they each see, whoever has the goggles on, they each see someone else in front of them. Like he's trying to shake the guy's hand, right? In front of him. Obviously, he doesn't feel it, but you
Right.
see them because it's augmented reality. Because it's augmented reality, it's not, you don't have goggles on, right? So you're seeing what's actually in front of you physical, right? And there's a computer that's displaying the image like an actual hologram, not just like a flat image. You see kind of 3D through
Mm-hmm.
those goggles. You see someone standing in front of you. Is that
Wait,
clear? Does
wait.
that make
So,
sense?
so,
Yeah.
so you're not in virtual reality when you wear it. You're still seeing the room, but it's
Yes.
augmented reality. So in the room, the glasses add that hologram of the person
Yeah.
who's wearing it on the other side, I guess.
Basically, you're seeing like whenever
Uh,
you put those glasses on, there's also some cameras and sensors that
they're
are
also.
basically just, yeah, it's
So
just
it's not
giving
just this
this image
device,
to the other person.
because someone has, I mean, the device is for
Right.
me to watch the person, but for the person who's broadcasting himself to me, something has to
Yeah.
be taking a picture
Right.
of
And there's a
the.
lot of details, a lot of
So it's
a
like a
lot
whole
of
room you need for that right now. It's like.
if you could see it in the video, you kind of saw how it's like a blurry image of a person standing. That's kind of what you would see looking. So
Mhm.
obviously the kinks are not worked out, but
Right.
they
It's
were
it's the
really
beginning.
excited.
It's the beginning of
It's the
something.
beginning.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was the first and successful, and the first one where you feel like, hey,
Yeah.
this is
I
going
mean,
somewhere,
I mean,
right?
clearly, if you make that affordable, user-friendly, easy to use for everybody, we would now be doing this our
Well,
show
basically
in
this,
something
yeah,
like
the
that.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and it's basically the same thing that happened with cell phones. Like, well, if everyone could have a cell phone, and look where we are now.
Right.
So,
Okay.
with that in mind, Seth, are you intrigued? Are you
I
do you
am.
get
I
the
remember
idea?
they remember they did something at the Super Bowl or something with like Michael Jackson or
Oh,
I
there
thought they
was
did something.
something like that.
But what I'm thinking is we could be, next year at this time we can be in everyone's house doing the show. Like they could be looking at us and we could be all like sitting there on the couch in each one's living room doing the
Well,
show.
I want to talk about that. I want to bring this. I want to let's look at it this way. This is how I saw it. Now, I don't know how you guys saw it. I was thinking about this a lot and I was talking with my mom about it too, and I'll talk about that in a second. But something happened. If you just go back and look at all of history, like all of how communication happened, think of like smoke signals, right? Which is just visual and it's far distance. Then maybe a messenger on a horse, right? Where you have to like do this thing. And then there's Morse code, maybe, where it's just a bunch of beeps. and then you add a little bit more information and you get some voice, right? So you actually have the telephone. So obviously I'm talking about history, where we are
Right.
now. What's the difference is you're just adding a little bit more information each time, right? It's like quality, sound. Now we have video, so you have video information. All these things are kind of coming together, and it's like where something was so distant, a person was really distant, you're slowly kind of bringing them, like this image of them or this character of them, the thing that you're communicating with, you're bringing more and more information. I want to have like almost the full experience of talking. Now, what's interesting is we have this drive to do that. It's like, yeah, let's just, if I could just create a portal and bring in the person I want to into my room, that would be like the ultimate thing. That's kind of what we want. But the question is kind of like, why? Why is that something that we are investing so much technology into, so much money? The technology there is getting more and more complex, also more accessible, but it's more complex because it's just building on top of other things that we've successfully, accomplished. So I was asking my mom, I was like, you see how what's happening? It's kind of cool. And she's like, yeah, well, I've got, I have my kids, right? So for her, she wants to have a relationship with them. So video call, Zooming, it kind of keeps it. If it was just on the phone, it'd be like, hey, what's up? But here it's like you can kind of continue it. So I'm thinking like, what is this trend? There's a trend of like, I want more of the person. If I could just bring them close and have them sit physically, like, why do I want that? Why is that something that is important? Why do we want that? Why is that important? That was kind of my question. Like, why is it even? Why do we want that so bad? Why is that such a high priority for us? Right? I'm throwing that to you guys because I put hours into thinking, and I want you guys to think about it.
Why are we constantly trying to cut the space, the distance between us?
Yeah, constantly. It's true. And historically, if you look at it over time, why does technology keep developing all the time? It keeps advancing.
Like, it's not even a question that that's what we should do.
Yeah,
that's the direction.
It's unanimous.
It's inevitable. It's like this force of nature that's bigger than us or something. And it's like, we started from making fire, whatever, millions of years ago or hundreds of thousands of years ago, let's say, and now we're like, how can we get you and I in the same room without being on the same continent? It's interesting if you look at this whole, and it just keeps going and going and going. It's cool, and clearly the technology, all of technology is part of our evolution and all aspects of our evolution. I got a nuance
on the side. It doesn't exactly answer it, but let's just kind of float it over here and then bring it back in when it's appropriate. Today, on my ride back here, I talked to someone I messaged with some people in Israel. I talked to someone in Philly. I talked to someone in Queens, New York. I talked to like 4 or 5 people in all different locations. Easy, just tap it on the phone, quick conversations, communicated a few things, and it was over. But you ever have that experience? I'm already old enough, like when I went to summer camp as a kid, like you'd write letters, or like you'd get a letter from your girlfriend or something, and you'd like smell the letter, you'd like read the letter, you'd take it out, you'd like wait to get back to a room where nobody was there, and then you'd like slowly open the envelope, you'd read it, you'd read that line again, you'd like can't wait to go, and just there was so much more power of inner kind of emotion in that kind of connection. And now we're getting closer and closer. I'm not sure how it relates, Chris, exactly.
I don't know if
inevitable.
Does that mean though that communication is becoming more digital? Is it really less intimate, or like you're saying with the letter example, or it's just you and I feel it like that? Because we grew for us, we grew up with I had a girlfriend in elementary school. you just reminded me of that. And there was like it was very, very pure, very kind of naive, very, kind of thing like that. And we actually wrote letter. It was a weird thing anyway. We wrote letters to each other for a long time, even though we sat in the same class. Anyway, but there was something to it. Yeah, she would give me her letter, I would give her my letter, and we would each read it at home. Very
fold
weird.
them up and
Special folds. Yeah, special folds. You pull it out and it like unfolds itself. Yeah, the girls love it.
So it was really, but I mean, is it really less intimate? I mean, if you get a text to your phone, it's your phone. It's almost a part of your hands. I feel like today. It's a part of your organs.
I feel like I'm relating to spirituality in it. Is that we made so much. I can think of myself until coming to the wisdom of Kabbalah. So many actions in my life. Like I've thought at one point that I needed to meditate. So like I do this meditation. Then I thought that I needed to be a vegetarian. So I became a vegetarian. And then I thought I needed to like recycle. And then I like not drive my car. So many things I did. So many kind of actions. It turns out that when we get to the wisdom of Kabbalah, our actions, we kind of, whatever creature we are, I'm an ostrich, you're a peacock, he's a rhinoceros. We just be that creature, and all of the spiritual stuff is happening inside. And it seems to me that with how fast social media is going and how fast technology is going, it's like that. Before you reach kind of Kabbalah, you're like trying to do all these things, but there's no real connection. They can make this technology completely perfect, but it's missing. What's the point?
It's kind of like you already see into the future, and you're like, yeah, even if we had like this perfect, awesome hologram, I can already imagine, because I've also seen movies and how people interact. You're like, you just get the feeling that that's not it, And I'm not just saying that because I'm, studied Kabbalah and I know that that's not it, but I think there's kind of an understanding like, yeah, it's not really what we want. Yes, it's like the best technology. It's like video calls are great, but it's not really what we want.
What is it that we're learning from this about ourselves from this then?
I took one thing. I noticed that it's in not every situation we want to have like this really close contact. If we want to keep our distance. Say if you just want to send a message to a person you don't really care about, you're not going to want to face to face, feel like you're there. I just want to send a thing. So there's distance, and there's also I want to feel very close to someone as well. So I want the whole range. We've kind of created those possibilities for us, that entire range. No, yes for this and no for that. And also there's this weird thing. Maybe I feel it with like animals and babies too, when they're so cute and you like want to eat them, but not eat them because they're hungry, because you're hungry, but because you're like, that's the closest you can bring them to you, right? And you're just like, and you're like, I almost, like get into me.
Yes.
So there's that weird thing that happens there. It's like, I don't know if it's the same thing here. I didn't really finish that, but there's something that's like, we have a problem, which is, I want to be close.
As close as
it's
possible.
like, but it's like it doesn't go in the square peg, round hole kind of thing, maybe. And it seems like even here in this example with the hologram, we're missing that kind of understanding that's actually, we want some kind of like really interlocking closeness, not just some hologram closeness.
Nobody's even questioning that this is where technology should go, right? Like if somebody comes out with something that like brings us closer, like everyone moves in that direction. There's no like it's bad that we're getting closer. There is no conversation about that.
Well, now I'll tell you that specific article, they're putting an emphasis on kind of like the medical industry, like, well, we could do this, we could help someone do like a remote surgery.
So the doctors could do, okay.
So that's the first thing that they notice, right? Like, that could really help that. But of course, it'll spread anywhere else. I don't really have anywhere else to go with this, and it was just interesting. I'm glad we talked about it for a little bit. But
I have some place to go with this.
Okay, let's hear.
I mean, I'm intrigued by the idea of holograms. First of all, I as a kid, I think, didn't you have this thing as a kid? Like, didn't you think about the idea of like communicating with a hologram or as a hologram as something cool?
Wait, what isn't a hologram?
Hologram,
Oh,
like in the
hologram.
sense
What am I
that
thinking of?
so there's
You're
someone
thinking of the
from
Michael Jackson thing you said.
No. Hologram. What's the thing where like when you go into it, it's the same thing?
what? What do you mean?
I know what you're
A
saying.
fractal. No, not
Fractal is yeah, okay. Fractal is
totally
totally
different. No, what's a
different.
holographic?
Oh, holographic, like the holographic universe principle in
Like from
Yeah.
every
in
angle, you're
physics.
seeing like the full picture kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's something else.
Right. No,
Okay.
it is something else. Yeah,
It is
Okay.
something else.
Okay.
but you're right. I know what you mean. It's a
We should
different.
distinguish later.
They
maybe, if we get to it, but
borrow the holographic term to mean something else,
right.
but it's kind of the same thing. It comes from the same etymology, like because a hologram is that you're not looking at the thing itself. It means you're looking at a representation of the thing itself. That's what a hologram
Yes.
is,
Yes.
basically. Anyway, okay, so what's cool
So you were
to
fascinated
me,
with this
yeah,
when you were a
what
kid,
I'm
you're saying.
intrigued as a kid, I was really fascinated with the idea of holograms. It just seemed to me so cool that you could have, there could be someone millions of miles of light years whatever away, and they'll be broadcasting their signal, and you can, and even just the visual nature of it, that there is something floating in the room and you can touch it, but it's not on a screen, and it's in the air and you can see it. That just seemed cool to me as a kid. Like that idea of like holograms, so cool, such a cool thing. Anyway, but that's not it. What I'm interested in is how. Okay, let's get into it like that. So give me a couple minutes here to set it up. So how there's like a big difference between how we feel everything in our life, our past, present, and future, our experiences, and then there's also so there's what we experience, right? Like we're having a conversation right now. Seth had a hot dog earlier in the day. Hope not. Whatever it is. Chris, picked this shirt for today, which is really,
I did.
really
Thanks for the
lovely
shirt,
and
by the way.
lovely and joyful, by the way. Love it. We do all kinds of things, and we experience kinds of things. All our actions, thoughts, and feelings. That's one thing, and then there's also the self, the I that experiences everything that we're going through. So there's what we go through, whatever happens to you in life, your plans, your hopes, your ideals, your aspirations, your dreams, your things you go through, things you feel in life, everything you go through, all your experiences, and then there's the person, let's say, the observer that experiences and reflects on everything that is experienced, right?
Right.
So if you think about all of your experiences, everything that happened to you in the past, the thing that you're doing right now, the future, your hopes, dreams, whatever, we think about all of that as ours. We think about that as our life, our choices, our things, our feelings, right? But
My history.
yes,
Yeah, it's
my history,
It built me. It built who I am.
but what would happen if we saw all of nature's laws, the governing program that governs everything that is happening? I mean, think about cycles, and you talked about the holographic universe, right? Think about cycles and patterns of evolution, right? The bacterial cells becoming multicellular organisms, caterpillar turns into a butterfly, embryo developing in a womb, a baby develops into an adult. Our cells are all of biology, right? All of physics, all of that is laws of nature. Now, to us, our dreams and hopes and aspirations feel like it's my life, right? It's my thing.
Yes.
But if we saw nature's governing program, all of these laws of nature, then we'd feel like we have no independent action whatsoever. And yet there's one thing that's left. And that thing is that this is very hard to accept what I just threw on the table. I recognize that, but
Yeah,
I'm
you're
saying
going really fast and you ran over that. But
but let's put it on the table for a second. If you recognize that everything you do, think, and feel is governed by laws of nature, you still have one thing, which is that point of observation that observes everything that you're going through. That self, that it's not exactly clear where is that. By the way, this is what they call in science the hard problem of consciousness. No one knows how to explain that. There is no theory on the table.
Like when you make a mistake and you're like, damn it, why did you do that? And
Exactly.
I can't believe why did I do that? Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
Like,
who's saying it and to whom? And like
Who's he talking to?
what's going on here? Exactly. Yeah, so I promised that it has to do something to do with the holograms, right? So if we saw all the nature's governing program, all of these laws that bring about our desires, our thoughts, our actions, our feelings, then if we saw that, nothing remains of you. Nothing becomes. There's nothing of you anymore. All that's
Meaning,
left.
I didn't choose to put this shirt on, or not even
Exactly.
choice. Let's not say not even choice. Just
Yeah.
everything I woke up and I did, and I looked back and I saw that I was being completely managed. There's still that point that says that can see that I was being managed.
Yes. Exactly. Now let's go Kabbalistic here for a second. So
Additionally,
yeah.
there's also all the feelings, though.
Right, but the feelings too, that too, it depends. There is still a feeling. Okay, let's say I'm sad. I'm really sad. There is the sadness, which is an experience. Could be bitterness, could be sweetness, could be joyfulness, could be sadness. And then there is the one who senses the sadness. The one who, that's
What
what
is
I'm talking
sadness
about.
without me sensing it? There's nothing that's objectively sad, probably.
That is debatable. It depends.
Okay.
It depends on how you measure it. Sure. But one thing is clear: that self, that I, that observer, can sometimes feel sadness and other times feel joyfulness, and maybe sometimes you even feel sad about something, but at the same time it makes you happy about something else. So you can even feel or juxtapose these two feelings. There is the self that calculates, that observes and relates to and reflects on and contemplates on and senses the experience. It's a good question whether that sadness exists without the observer or not. But I'm saying let's just put the observer, let's try to detach the observer from the experience. All right? So so in Kabbalah, we have a very a known term that Kabbalists use for that observation point. We call that the point in the heart. It's that point in you that asks, wait a second, what's the meaning of all of this? What's the purpose of all of this? Where am I? Who am I? Where am I going? Where is all of this headed? That is that point of observation. It's a unique point of observation that exists in us humans and
Above the animals.
and beyond the bodily existence. And it's easy to identify it through those questions about meanings and purpose of life, but it's actually always there. It's always there. We all have this observation points, but we tend to put more focus, emphasis, and attention to what we experience rather than that observer point. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's most of the time, I mean, you're busy with, oh, I feel good, I feel bad, I feel sick, I need this, I need to do that, oh, I have a desire for this, I have
Not
a problem.
only that, if I feel bad, I think of who's making me feel bad.
Right.
And then I ruminate on how much I hate this person, or I can't believe they said that, or something.
Right.
And then we just
It's
spin
complex.
out and waste like decades of our lives.
So
Hypothetically.
yeah,
Hypothetically.
so here's the thing. So the hologram, linkage, right? I would say this, that first of all, what Kabbalah helps you do, and you guys can attest to that, it helps you pay attention to the observer. It helps you develop this sensitivity of the observer. And don't you feel like, as Kabbalah practitioners, that the more attention you give to the observer versus the experience, whatever it is, good or bad, right? You can experience something good, you can experience something bad. From that observer point, it's like a vantage point that allows you to even weigh these things equally. The good might be even the same as the bad that you experience. If you get to that, when you get to that point. But
it takes a long time to stabilize it, though, because I think there's also for the person who comes to the path of Kabbalah, for us anyway, our generation of Kabbalists, meaning when we came, I think we kind of stepped back and almost cut ourselves off a little bit from the world. And I think it's only in the last few years that, because of the way the world is developing, now we're kind of like emerging back into the world
there's something to that.
Yeah, and I think hopefully for the students who come now, they can kind of be more in it, or probably go through that faster. Because you definitely, I think many of us kind of cut ourselves off and saw ourselves, only looking from up here and kind of disregarding kind of.
Well, clearly, I mean, we know that a big emphasis in our method is that we need to live on both levels. We need to go through whatever it is we experience. The good, the bad, the bitter, the sweet, it's all required. It's part of...
Talk technically for a minute why. What it even means that the light, that light has to... talk about why. Technically.
I forgot my whole angle on the holograms here.
Sorry. Oh, the hologram, right? Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry. We went into some interesting tangents here. But
we're separating. The last thing you said was separate. You're separating the experience, like
yes,
good or bad,
yes,
from the observer.
Yes. So don't you feel like when you have that point of focus, when you look at life from the observer point, then all of life, the first phenomenon I would say is that life begins to feel like a movie. You know what I mean? When things are happening to me, another thing that's happening is that you get more insights into the governing program of nature that operates you. The more you identify with the observer, with that observer in you, with that point, the point in the heart, we call it in Kabbalah, right? Let's call it the observer point. The less importance you give to whatever it is that you experience, the more you see it like a movie, and the more you identify the natural program that runs your desires and thoughts and feelings, and all. You begin to see the patterns. Yes, thank you. Yes, and essentially, you're broadcasting a hologram. Because you're not that body that you're separating yourself. It's like you're sitting in some non-material room watching this and broadcasting through. Yeah, exactly. You have some goggles on you, and you're broadcasting your hologram into this world,
and it's full with tastes and smells and sights,
surround
and
sound and everything. Yeah, exactly.
It is like that. It is like that. And you connect also to, you start feeling that there's someone giving that to you. Like you said nature, the system of nature, all these influences, all these laws. But there's also an attitude that you can kind of like see from the distance, like that is pointed at me, for me to kind of start looking at the one giving me that.
Okay, let me try to put that into words, because that's powerful to me. So the more you pay importance, I guess, or raise the importance of the observer point, the more you invest your passion into that point, your focus, I should say, in that point. what did you say that just that
That you're connecting
triggered
to
me?
the one who's giving it to you.
Yes, yes. So the more you can see the long view, so you're not just busy with the thing that I want to drink this water now. I want to do this thing now. The just like the present moment or something I'm ruminating about or something that you're starting to see the big picture, and you're seeing that there's purposefulness. You're seeing that there is some sort of an almost educational process that you are going through. The more you identify with the observer and not with the transient experience, temporary experience that you're having right now in this world, the more you can identify what the governing program of nature is doing with you. Because the
Right.
governing program of nature, its business is not the experiences to give you a good feeling, to give you a bad feeling, its business is growing that observer to a higher level of consciousness. That's what it's doing.
Well,
And
but what you haven't said yet is when you say experiences, basically we can say bitter and sweet, which is like, oh, that's good, that's bad,
mhm.
to something more like true and false, which you've said many times, but it's so succinct. It says it so clearly, that difference. I need truth. Where is the
Yeah,
truth? Where's my origin? What is real and what's not real versus taste and and feeling
check
of good or bad.
check this out. Check this out. I got a quote that inspired this whole thing. This is from a few days ago. Can you see this? This is from a
Yeah.
few days ago from one of our lessons with our teacher, Kabbalist Dr. Michael Lightman. So this is from August 7th. So like a few days ago, beginning of the week. So he said this: if you saw the true shape of reality, you'd see that you have nothing of your own. Nothing. Not your plans, not what you've done, not what you're planning to do. Nothing is yours. It just appears to you that way. You're in a dream. The only thing you've got is the ability to awaken the point in the heart, what we now call the observer point, right? Nature awakens it first, and then you can continue. So even the initial awakening of the observer point, that too is nature's program. But then we can kind of decide how much we want to focus on it, how much we want to invest in it, and shift our attention to that dimension of the observer, right? So nature awakens it first, and then you can continue. And if you awaken that point of connection with the governing program, that's the point from which you can achieve independence. So that's the whole thing that inspired this thing in me. And
It's beautiful.
Mm.
um,
The
Wow.
go ahead, go ahead.
So to get that, getting a hologram machine, it's possible with some dollars or credit or shekels. But this perception that you're talking about, that I develop, that a person develops that perception, that he feels the governing force of all reality, and feels himself inside of that reality and where it's all going. That is a new quality. It's not a quality that belongs to animals or plants or anything like that. It's a new quality.
Yeah,
The issue is, in order to develop it, so what you just described is a fundamental axiom of axiom. I don't know if that's the right word. A fundamental quality of spiritual perception. In order to get to it, though, in order to build it the way nature builds it in us, it's also something that we have to learn, because it's not, you just can't buy it.
yeah,
And we're building it through all of these actions. Like if I wanted to fly to Israel and
which you
go see,
have a week
I
ago.
have, and I want
Check.
to go and have a meal with friends together, and I want to go and explore this incredible place. Like
Which
if my
you did.
ticket cost, which I did. If my ticket cost $1,000, for example,
Right.
but if I only have $900, I can't get on the plane.
You can, unless you have a friend. But
Not only not only that,
but yeah.
not only that. If I have $999.99, but a ticket costs $1,000, I can't click purchase on the site. I
Right.
can't get the ticket until I have enough. And there's also a this same kind of concept in spirituality. In order to reach the point where where a person can perceive that kind of spirit, begin to perceive himself as more than his normal animal self, and start to perceive the system he's in, he's got to what does he have to do? He has to kind of build some other kind of process. Here's something from Rabash. See if this helps, because I'm getting stuck on words, so I'm going to pull up some notes here.
Go for it. Ooh, Rabash, that's serious
Only
language
if,
there.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Midway through, he says only at the end, once he acquired enough of these pennies, enough of these efforts, he can see what's going on. At the halfway through, he won't be able to see until so he says that's why we need to brace ourselves and say we're already near the king's palace, he calls it. We're already near this perception, but there is a common feeling for people who are on the path, like, I've been at this, and where's my reward? Like, I don't see it yet. And the point is that you're not given cookies in the form of like a physical cookie as you're moving spiritually. As we're moving spiritually, we're trying to acquire something totally different. It's different than a hologram. It's like something spiritual. And so what I'm trying to explain, and I'm having a hard time doing it, is what is that process that has to happen, penny after penny after penny. But what is it? So I can explain it in kind of Kabbalistic language, and hopefully you guys can help me communicate it in clear human language, that we're all from this broken vessel, the shattered vessel. All of reality is part of this shattered vessel. And we go on our life every day, and we're taking a shattered piece and kind of reconnecting it. And then we're taking another shattered piece and we're reconnecting it. And we're taking another shattered piece and we reconnect it until we've built that vessel so the light doesn't, until we have the plane ticket, we can't fly. Until we have enough pieces connected.
Not only that, but you start from zero every time. So you're given to feel that,
or at least you think you start from zero. Yeah, exactly.
You think you start, but you feel that you have, and so it really is like that. Am I halfway? Am I anywhere close? Am I doing anything? But it's that process which starts to separate you from that kind of governance of, I only want to care about how I feel. If you add a penny to the weight of going towards truth, or going towards what is controlling me, what's governing me, how do I participate, if there's something more, all those questions they all relate to that side. Every time I go and add a penny to that, I'm getting a little bit more importance to it. Now there's so much here. We're talking about a lot of work about this and efforts, which kind of maybe wasn't clear to some of the audience. Like, what is the effort? I don't know if we should even go into that, but it should be known that Seth is basically trying to say, you want to find a method that shows you the truth and brings you the whole spiritual world. When you find the method, saying Kabbalah, you definitely feel that this is it, and you go for it. But where are the efforts? If I feel like this is it, where do the efforts come from? And that comes along the path when you start feeling, maybe it's not worth it. But that's exactly part of the program. Nature wants you to go through all of that and all of it and all that. We're just becoming independent. And you have to go through the process, and you're not allowed to see how much you have, but also at the same time, you see that it cannot be done any other way. It has to be done that way. And you would kind of agree with it a little bit. You would disagree, but also
we're talking about concepts that are very hard to accept without some spiritual preparation. So I'm wondering how hardcore you. I mean, look, okay, but look, this is very hard to accept, because
And by the way,
Everything.
come to the retreat on September, at the beginning of
Ah,
September,
Right,
where we'll
that's what we
give you a
should
chance
say.
to
Yeah,
taste it.
if you really want to taste and feel and experience the work, the spiritual work that actually builds your,
Taking
expands
those
your
pieces here
perception.
and transferring them into
Yes,
that other authority, that other domain.
that is the best way to feel it, to practice it. We have a retreat coming up. You do not want to miss it, especially if you've never been to one. And even if you've been, then you know. Then you probably know. um, it's just an unparalleled experience because of the environment that's there and the immersion that you can get into a true Kabbalistic environment where you can really feel these principles on your flesh, work with other people, to create that special environment. It's just there's just no one at the moment. I don't think in this world, in this existence, there is anything that parallels this experience. Maybe in the future with more holograms, holographic technologies, we can make that work. But right now, bringing your body, what you feel as your body, into a place with other bodies is just a powerful thing. And it builds
I
some
found the
important
link. I'm going to put a
impressions.
link in the
Yeah,
thank,
yeah.
thank you.
We'll throw a link into the description, and
Yeah, but when is it? When's the date? Because there's still some time even
early
before.
September.
September 9 through 11. Okay. So back to what? What were we? Where were? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We kind of got lost, but I like throwing
Okay.
some of those things.
What's
and
so
people are like,
hard to
"Wait, what?"
accept?
And then we just,
What's so hard to
yeah,
accept?
yeah.
That's my train of thought got back to. The
Okay,
thing that's
I'll go with
hard to accept here is in our world, everything you want to advance in, anything, whether it's your job, getting a promotion, making more money, becoming more famous, getting more views on your videos, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Getting more, becoming more popular in your environment, succeeding at things. The way to progress, to advance in anything in the material world feels like a linear progress, meaning I put some effort, I get something back. I put some effort, I get something back. More money, more stocks, more promotion, more respect, more honor. It's like it just. Then that's what you want. You're like an accountant, right? You're the accountant of your own life, and you're just looking for more benefit, right? And spiritual progress is well, you said hardcore. The spiritual progress is unlike that. There is no linear kind of sense of growing fulfillment. In fact, in a very big way, you feel opposite more and more to the very goal that you're trying to get to. You feel more opposite, and you feel like you want it more. These are the two handles or the two marks on your dashboard where you go, oh my God, this thing is so opposite to my ego. It's
There's so many.
Go ahead.
There's so many perfect. There's so many perfect analogs of this. So many perfect examples in our world. If you had someone who wanted to build a tower or a tall building, they would dig a hole in the ground, and the next day they would dig deeper, and the next day they would dig deeper. And in fact, the higher they want the building to go, the deeper they would go. But if you had like a simple person, just called like a normal person, right? Like the world is filled with normal people. We're talking about seeing things a different way. A normal person comes by, he's like, you idiot, you're in the hole. Yesterday you were only that deep. Today you're that deep. You're trying to build the building. You're going the opposite way. Like Rabash said, you can't see in the middle where it is. And a person would be very, very confused, even on a wheel that spins. Half the time seems like the wheel is going down. And if you didn't, if you
Yes.
were like strapped to the wheel,
Yeah.
half of every degree that you go through, like every degree is called there was evening, there was morning one day, there was evening, there was morning one day. Like half of the degree seems like you're going backwards,
Yes.
but
But you're
rolling
always
forward.
going forward. You're always going forward. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Back to the holograms kind of discussion, right? And this is why it's very hard to accept. We are very attached to this present life cycle.
Yeah, I see you digging deeper. I feel like I'm going down in the circle.
No, but I'm saying, like, as human beings, we are very attached to this body and everything that happens to it in this material life. But all that you go through from the moment you're born to the moment you die, again, if we go back to what we read earlier, it's not even you. It's not even, it's just a piece of a movie with a few frames there in between. And you know what?
The
There's
person
actually
who's on their deathbed really does feel that they're even closer to the truth of that because they look back and
yeah.
what is that? What was
Another
that just
interesting
then?
thing that happens, by the way, they find in research on psychedelics. They're trying to use them in all kinds of against PTSD, to cure PTSD and other things, or sometimes they give them to people who have terminal illness. Not necessarily to heal their illness, but to get them to agree
Psychologically
live
prepared.
the rest of what they have left in their lives in a comfortable way, instead of being worried about dying, and that really helps them. But anyway, why?
Successful. Yeah.
Because it's very successful in that, because it helps people be less attached to this present life cycle, and building spiritual,
Which is exhausting. It's exhausting to be attached to this all the time and to feel like you're just
but
being
it's so
dragged
yes, but it's so frightening and unknown to us to think about anything else. It's all
Anything
we
else,
know.
right.
It's all we know. But it's just a temporary, transient experience that's going to end. The fact is that it's temporary. We all know that. Show me
So we
that.
already named
Yeah.
we already named a few of these kind of principles of the wisdom, right? There's that observer perspective, which is the point of the
Yes.
heart developing. There is how to get to it, which is like penny after penny, all these different efforts, which kind of remove me from my animal existence slowly, without giving me cookies each time, so I stay an animal.
Yeah.
Right, now there's this
Right.
next
Yeah.
piece that you're talking about,
Which is?
which I just lost my train of thought.
I was waiting for the next piece to like, okay, yeah, I missed it. What's
I was setting it up so good. I was like putting the arrow in. I was
Well,
like ready to go.
the other
the
point.
readiness, maybe the readiness to split. Is that where you were getting at? I don't know.
Well,
maybe
look, building our spiritual perception, shifting our attention to that observer, and starting, which later becomes in Kabbalah what we call intention. We want to live in a different dimension, above the experience and in the intention.
Got it.
That's where we want to be. And in there, we discover there's a whole life, there's a whole realm of a new kind of considerations and experiences, even, let's say, that are all about the intention of the observer. And that dimension is a different dimension of experience, and it requires, to some extent, to allow yourself to detach from this whole present life cycle, from the whole. This is why I said how hardcore you want to get, because if we're talking about true spiritual development, then giving up this world is just a basic precondition. It's not even
It sounds very nihilistic, though, because at the same time,
yes. Help me balance this thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I feel I somehow it happened, right? I entered into this society. They're constantly, even though my personal desires are always growing and everything, but I have, TV and songs and movies, and every day I'm being reminded of this spiritual reality enough that I can make enough internal efforts that now I feel the giver behind everything. It's not just I'm breathing, I feel that there's some source of the air. It's not just everything. I feel that
Right.
everything is being operated.
Being
Okay?
given to me. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I still have to go to the bathroom. I
Yes.
still have to wash my hair. I still have to eat. I still
Okay.
have to sleep. I still have to pay the bills.
I'll add even another aspect here that is important. This world, this whole bodily experience that we have from the moment we're born to the moment we die, it's not that it's completely unimportant and irrelevant and there's no point to it. No. Its a whole importance. The reason it is important is because it's an opportunity to rise to our eternal existence. So everything that you go through in this life, it has a lot of importance, but just not to the importance of this world is not in this world.
Well,
It's
I'll
just
say it
a
like this.
springboard. Go ahead.
It's
Go
a
ahead.
springboard. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
nice. There we go.
boat. It's like if I want to go fishing, I can't just go out on the ocean. I gotta get on a boat and I gotta use the boat to take me to where I go, and then I could get on there. Basically, we're saying, hey, yeah, what's important is the fish, but it's equally important the boat and how you get there. So of course you need this world, but when you put on those glasses and you see a little bit different that I'm an observer and something else is happening, then it couldn't be any other way. This world has to exist in order for me to, first of all, feel disconnected from the observing point. Then so I can come back and look at it from the other. Then I have both angles and I can hold both angles. And then I feel that the physical world is like, every moment is a gift. It's like existing.
Yes.
It's existing as part of this thing that I have to partner. I have to be a partner with.
Okay,
You feel that calling.
I'm gonna share it from like my personal experience, and I'm sure you guys will identify. Maybe some of our viewers too will as well. Those who are here maybe for a while. When you start your spiritual journey, your spiritual path in Kabbalah, then at first you lose any importance of this world. This whole world just becomes completely redundant. Like, why the heck am I still even here? Why do I need any of this? Work,
just let me study
family,
all day,
money,
give me the books all day.
Just let me delve into the upper worlds through
If I made so many beginner's mistakes.
intriguing texts. Let me just go in there and then things get a little messier and
I thought I would just go to
convoluted.
the lesson every day and like all of my problems would be
Right.
created. Would say, I'll do my part. You take care of everything else.
Fast forward, weeks, months, depending on how fast
Years.
you advance. How fast you advance, yeah, whatever. But fast forward, and then and I'm skipping a lot of stages here, right? But then at some point you start seeing, every moment in this world actually counts. It's not just so you rediscover the importance of this world in a new way. It's like you came out of it. Kabbalah pulls you out of this world for a little bit. You float for a little bit, and it gives you, listen, it's like, look, you can observe this whole of reality. You can observe nature's program.
See the forces that are operating.
Exactly. Feel that a little bit. And now, like, plunge back in. And now you start connecting every moment of this transient
Otherwise,
experience.
there's no purpose of this reality.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have to. It's not like it's redundant.
We
It's
have
detail.
to connect the transient, the temporary, to the eternal. That's basically what we're doing. And the cool thing here, the cool thing about it is, and the thing that is so unique to Kabbalah also, is that the method for doing that is by connecting the observer points. So every person comes with that point in the heart, as we call it, as Kabbalists call it, that point that is able to observe the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and so on. And that's what we're working on, inspiring and strengthening the observer point and seeing only the observer point through those so-called bodies of other people, like-minded people who have the same desire and following the same method.
It's like with 2 eyes, you'll see 3D. If you did it with 10 of these points, you see a different dimension.
Does that connect a little bit to like the first part of this hologram thing, where we want to be on the phone, we want to be closer? It's like it's like
of course it
there's
is
something there.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try. Let me try to put these things together. Help me out here. So in this world, we are advancing from bottom up, right? We have no idea of the spiritual. We feel like we're material separated bodies in this world, and we're trying to like live our life. And as it happens, we develop technology, which gradually does what? Helps us transcend the material limitations of time, space, and motion between us that separate us. That's what we do with technology. That's why the technologies develop from these, from a phone to a hologram. We're trying to gradually be able to bridge and overcome the limitations of time, space, and motion. The spiritual practice is where you're trying to connect every moment of life in this temporary material world to the eternal, unbounded connection between us that is above time, space, and motion. And so these holograms or the internet or any kind of technology is just a natural trajectory of our evolution until we recognize that the real technology to bridge time, space, and motion is through awakening that observer point within us and connecting these observer points between us so that we can observe that we are actually one. There is no distance between us. Time is just the way in which we compress our spiritual existence into a chunkable, understandable reality for us to work with. And we're all already there. And then we won't need any holograms.
That was the final piece. It was like, at first we kind of started off as saying like, here I am, here's my observation point, here's my experience, here's this is bitter, that's sweet. The missing piece was like, it's something that all of us kind of, so it drew me to Kabbalah in the beginning too. Where is the method for every single person on this planet? Not this kind of person or that kind of background or this. Every single person has to do that, and we have to do it together. And that's what nature wants from us all. There's no segregation. There's no, favorites or anything. That was really a sharp point for me that felt that understood that this has to be it.
And every person in the world, like you say, above politics, religion, culture, and whatever mentality or background, whatever it is, every person has the observer point, has that point in the heart. It's just, it could be dormant, it could be asleep, and we have to awaken each other. And yes, some people awaken first, just like, when the body awakens from a coma, so some organs regain their sensitivity back first before the others, and that's what's happening. Ultimately, in what Kabbalists call the final correction, we all come to this spherical, our teacher likes to call it like a spherical kind of reality where there's no up and down, there's no differences, there's no inferior and superior. Everyone's the same. Everyone is one. Everyone is the world. Everyone, the observer point that was shattered, essentially comes from all of us being a single creation that has one observation of the force that created it. Okay, I'm going too far here.
And you all want it. You all want it. So let's keep going, and we'll get there eventually. And come to the retreat again.
Yeah, exactly. Come to the retreat and feel what it means.
Yes, come to the retreat. Did we throw a link there, Seth? That you said.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll do it.
The issue that needs to be dealt with, which we're not going to be able to do now, though, is it sounds super commie when you say that. Like everyone's
commie
equal,
as in communist. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh right.
So we're not talking about that, but it requires more explanation.
I like that. There's a lot more questions than answers this time, and Yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this show. Are you supposed to do
Are we
something?
gonna get a live
Seth?
song anytime soon? Is there a chance
I'm gonna
for a
try.
live
I'm
song
so
there?
out of
He's
shape.
gonna try.
Okay, he's gonna try. Everybody, come on, show some love. Show some love in the chat there. Here's the link. I just threw it in there. If you want to see Seth doing live music with a bunch of other
No. If
friends,
we want to connect together,
come to the retreat. All right,
how's the audio?
not bad. Guitar is good. Maybe a little closer.
Just tell me if once we play if I need to change something.
Okay.
Beyond the curtains of this story told, behind the faces of the meek and bold, above the good and bad, the right and wrong, there's hope for a brighter dawn. We learn to breathe without a breath of air. We learn to run on roads that lead nowhere. Now is the time for us to rise above and learn what it is to love. We open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the crimes. Open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the crime. Beyond the border there's a song that plays, and in our hands we have a choice that waits. Together rising high above these lies, to see the world through your eyes. In every moment there's a chance to see another vision of what we could be. Beyond the colors of this shattered heart, the color of unity. We open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see that love will cover all the crime. Open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the crimes. Oh.
Next Thursday. You're muted. Stop.
Next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We will see you there. Until then, keep observing.
Keep observing.
Bye,
Good luck.
everybody.
See you then.